Heyo. So, welcome. So, this is going to be a fun stream. This is my first time playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. Now, hold on. I'm in the wrong scene. Whoopsies. Hello. There we go. So, just a little bit of background. Stanley Parable is a game that's really important to me. I love it a lot, and I've put a lot of time into it. And I've been excitedly awaiting this remake for years at this point. It's been a while. And it's finally out. And I decided, instead of streaming Mario 64 today, I'm sorry to anyone who wanted to see that, I'm going to be streaming Stanley Parable instead. Going in completely blind. I haven't seen anything with the remake. I haven't played it. I don't know much about it, except that obviously it's a new remake. I've been following technical stuff on it. Yeah, I don't know much about this. I don't know what kinds of new endings, what kinds of new content we're getting. That's really all I have to say. So let's get going. I went through the setup really quick. Oh, it's got the same, okay. Real quick. Subtitles are on. Transition labels, show content warnings. What the hell? Oh, I guess the insanity ending. By the way, I have it in the title, but this stream is going to contain massive spoilers. Just fair warning for you guys. And if you haven't played the original Stanley Parable, you should really do that. I'm gonna turn the MIDI volume down to 60. There we go. If I need to turn desktop audio up, I can. Video, full screen mode, borderless. I'm sure this will be fine. Same controls as usual. Oh, right. Before we go, I wanted to share on my desktop. I am in fact wrong button. I hate the Photos app. I have officially read the entire crash course and didn't skip any lessons, and I am now a certified launch expert for the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. I got this in the email the other day, and I just thought it would be funny to show it on stream. That's it. Okay, back to the game. I think key bindings are good. Audio is set. So, let's see what secrets await us. I'm so excited. You guys don't even know. I love the Stanley Parable so much.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Whoa. Ooh. I'm gonna... Okay, so I turned the audio down a little bit too low. We'll turn it to 70. And... we'll turn the mouse sensitivity down a little bit. Oh, that's cool. So you could... Yes, you can hold the left and right mouse buttons to...
What could it mean?
Do you think I can...
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his...
Ha-ha! I'm not gonna go for this, because... Oh, that's an ending that is in the base game.
Stanley went around touching every little thing. Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the achievement? Click a door 5 times. Is that all that you think an achievement is worth? No. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks. Now suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition. I have to say, I'm still not feeling the satisfaction.
I love this achievement. I love all the achievements in this game.
Perhaps 50 clicks will do it. Yes, almost certainly 50 clicks.
Well, if I get carpal tunnel, at least it's for a game that I love. I just realized this game is tagged with horror.
No, I'm still not feeling it. I want this achievement to have meant something.
It's the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe Adventure Game Mysteries.
For valiant effort. I want to see some hustle, Stanley. I want to see commitment, a willingness to go all the way, no matter what the cost. Why don't you go put 20 clicks into door number 417?
For 20... 417.
Oh, great. Now, go click a few times on door 437.
Oh, the things I do for Steam achievements. I mean, like... I did all these achievements, like, on the original.
415. Let's give it 10 clicks or so.
415. 415 is farther down, because that's 417. 415.
Now, back to door number 437.
It's kind of impressive how well they were able to recreate the feel of a Source game in Unity. Like...
Let's see. How about you click on, well, I don't know, the copy machine. All right, back to room 417. I'm really feeling it now. I think we're getting...
Sorry, No! I just wanted to turn the mouse sensitivity back up. Damn it.
This is...
Yeah. Story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked in his big building.
All of his co-workers will... Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the achievement?
I didn't mean to...
Is that all that you think an achievement is worth? No. I can't...
Escape pod door! So, I know that all the original endings are back in this game.
Now, suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that...
Yeah, all the original endings are back, so I'm going to try to avoid those intentionally, and I'm going to try and only go for the new ones.
I'm still not feeling the satisfaction of witnessing true effort for a noble cause. Perhaps 50 clicks will do it. Yes, almost certainly 50 clicks.
Yes, there is a speedrun for the Stanley Parable. The fastest ending would be the suicide ending, I think.
No, I'm still not feeling it. I want this achievement to have meant something. It has to be a true reward for valiant effort. I want to see some hustle, Stanley. I want to see commitment, a willingness to go all the way, no matter what the cost. Why don't you go put 20 clicks into door number 417?
Damn, they got rid of the face punch Easter egg, where if you typed face punch in the keyboard, it would replace all the textures with the face punch logo.
Oh, great. Now, go click a few times on door 437.
I love video games.
I think we're getting somewhere. Now, door 415. Let's give it 10 clicks or so.
Nice. Just notice you, like, glide to a stop when you... Odd.
Now, back to door number 437.
Eventually, I will go through and chart all the endings. I kind of wish this game had an ending map. Like, once you beat an ending...
Let's see. How about you click on, well, I don't know...
Like in
the
Henry
copy
Stickmin, where it
machine.
shows a map of all the branches and
Back
endings.
to room 417. I'm really feeling it now. I think we're getting somewhere.
Like in a Henry Stickmin, where they have a map of every ending.
Okay, now go climb on employee 419's desk.
I assume 419 is... 22, 418, 419.
Yes! This is
Got it.
great! You're putting it all on the line, Stanley. I like that. All right, let's keep it up. Go give me a few clicks on door 416. We've almost got it! Now the copy machine, do that one again!
I wonder what the world record speedrun for this game
Finish
is.
it off, Stanley! 5 clicks on door 430! Yes! We did
I got the
it!
achievement.
Oh, wow. That felt amazing. Oh, you really earned it, Stanley. Nothing could hold you back. Yes, I'm very proud of how far we've come today.
Look at these
Just think, only a few minutes
IBM
ago, you believed
XTs.
an achievement was worth 5 little clicks. Really now, what were you thinking?
Okay, it should put me back on the normal path now. Here we go.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I'm trying to think of where they could have added new endings, because I know this game like the back of my hand. Yes, the achievement on Steam says click door 435 times.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room,
Like,
and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
How do you add new endings?
Perhaps he
I guess
wanted to
I
stop
know
by
the game so
employee
well.
lounge first, just to admire it.
I can't imagine where they could have added extra...
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Do I go for the confusion ending?
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track. Yet there was not a single person here.
Everything
either.
here is the same so
Feeling a
far.
wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here.
Did
so
they...
he turned
Does the
around
broom
and
closet
got
ending
back on track.
have new content?
There was nothing here. No choice to
I
make.
don't think
No
so.
path to follow. Just
I've-
an empty broom closet. No reason to stay
I mean,
here.
yeah, if you do everything the narrator tells you not to do, I believe you get the confusion ending?
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
What? What? Wait, the executive bathroom is just open? Huh?
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication
No
of
piano?
any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845.
284.
But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
I couldn't remember what it
By
was.
simply pushing random buttons on
Anyways, yes, you get an achievement for not playing the game for 5 years.
by sheer luck. Amazing.
And then this game has an achievement that you get by not playing it for 10 years. Nothing? The lighting in this game is very different. And look, no weird source buttons anymore. It's kind of strange to see. I'm just going through the regular ending.
Stanley realized he felt a bit
Like-
peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now,
What?
when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
I kind of want to go for the escape ending. Because I love the escape ending. It's one of my favorites. Like, having the museum. But the museum might have spoilers for the new ending, so I think maybe I'll just go for the standard ending first. See if anything new pops up.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength?
Did they?
to find out?
No, they. Oh, no! Oh, shit! Okay, so I guess they didn't fix it.
Ah, you've made it to the bottom of the mind control facility. Welcome. You see, back when the Stanley Parable first launched in 2013, getting to the bottom of the mind control facility was a bug that we simply didn't catch during development. And you all sent us lots of photos of it on Twitter and acted very superior about it. And you're all very, very clever. Good for you. Anyway, when it came time to update the game, we knew that we had to do something about this little goof of ours. So here you go. New content. You can call it the bottom of the mind control room ending, if that enhances your perception of the value of these updates. Isn't that what you crave? New content? Always more content, more, more. And I'm here to give it to you. I'm here to make it seem like we really covered every nook and cranny of the game, with secrets and Easter eggs. How about this? We wrote a new piece of music just for this section. You won't hear it anywhere else in the game. It's a secret that's just for you. That's how special you are. We call this track, Good Job You've Made It to the Bottom of the Mind Control Facility. Well done.
Good job, you did it. Good job. 3, 2, 1. Good job, you made it to the bottom of the mind control facility.
I can't believe they actually added this.
It used to be a fun, but now it's an ending. Now it's an ending. I believe in you. I believe in your ability to cross this barrier. Chase the dreams. The railings don't mean anything. Good job, you did it. 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 Good job, you did it.
This is great. I love this. I'm already so excited. Oh, that's it. It just resets.
All of his co-workers were gone.
It really just reset me.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
One of the other things, the window escape ending, you just sit there and the narrator just makes annoying noises until you restart the game.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
You know what?
This was not the correct way to the meeting room.
Wait, that's not the confusion ending. That's the,
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first.
The confusion ending is the one where you go down the elevator in the maintenance shaft and you...
Yes.
The adventure line, and you follow the adventure line, and it takes you to the confusion room.
Stanley took the first open door on his left.
What is this ending called, then?
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
So in case you didn't know, you can jump off of this and kill yourself and get an ending. You can also go in there and get the game ending, which is great. But
the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time.
I want to see what they've done here.
Someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. Oh, no, you can't. Did you just unplug the phone? Now, that wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that? You actually chose incorrectly? I didn't even know that was possible. Let me double check. No, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another.
In case you didn't know, when you pick up the phone, that's not actually what happens.
Picking up the phone
But
is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible?
I guess this is called the choice
None of these
ending, isn't it?
decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible.
I wonder if the cheater ending is still here.
Did I not notice
You can't access the console because it's not a Source Engine game. Tilde doesn't do
You're a real
anything.
person. I can't believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've
I'm
been
having
able
fun.
to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long.
Well, they have
If you made
subtitles
any
now,
more
though.
Wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored
I always
the
love
most
subtitles.
basic
I'm not
protocol
hard of hearing,
for real-world
I think.
decision-making, or
I might
to
have
even
tinnitus, but
grasp
that's a whole
the
other thing.
severity of the
I always
situation.
watch,
Well, I won't
like,
have that
TV,
kind of
movies,
risk on my
games,
watch.
whatever, with
I'm going to
subtitles.
stop the game for a moment so we can educate you
I don't know why.
properly
I
on
just-
safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
Choice. It's the best.
It's
part
still
of
just
being
as
a real
compressed
person.
as it used to be.
Used incorrectly can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario,
I think this is the same video file from the Source Engine version.
Invent a machine that eliminates food shortages
What?
across the world to make life better for all people. Or he could spend years of hard work forgetting how to read.
What?
Which choice would you make?
No, this is
Remember
different.
that unlike here, the real world makes sense.
I guess
and
they
at no
didn't
time should you
want to
make a
keep the
choice
joke
that does
about
not conform to
lighting orphans
rational
on
logic.
fire.
If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having
I
a bad
don't know how to
sack of
commentate on
crap."
this. I just fucking love this ending. My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be
Making
having a
choices on
back
a regular basis is the
can't.
best part of a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually
So yeah, I guess they
meaningful
removed the
and whether
joke
you'll
about
ever
lighting
make a
orphans on
significant
fire,
contribution
which
to the world, just
I
remember
get.
that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside.
Me.
At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Welcome back.
Okay, really quick. Okay. Yes.
You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please. choices are meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the platform and dying. Imagine the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would make no sense at all. We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality.
Technically speaking, you can play this entire game with one hand. Because I'm not, like, I don't need the keyboard, I can just use the mouse to walk.
Almost there. You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending, the story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world. Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would.
So if you go through the
That
left
means
ending, you
choosing
get...
responsibly and always
I don't know
putting
what
the
it's called.
story first.
Is it called the
I'm
true
quite
ending?
sure
It's the
you'll
one
be up to
where
the task.
you get the
Just follow
actual
my lead and
credits.
you'll be fine.
Like, the credits will
Right.
roll, and the game
When
finishes.
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
But...
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late. Oh, it's ruined. I can't believe, after everything we talked about, that my story, you've
Wait.
destroyed my work. Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever. Reliving its impossibility forever.
Come on! I can see something back there!
Down entirely to willingly destroy all of my work. No.
Ugh.
What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do? What do I... No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to. I have to. I'm here. I'm still here in this pile of rubbish, with you, who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you've run it into the ground. What, did you think that would be funny? You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child. Oh, my story. If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed.
It's not. If you go through the door on the left in this ending, you get to a voice locked door, and it won't let you open it.
Is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back. Is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back. Is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back. is behaving
Yeah, it
fully.
just keeps repeating. So, I am going to begin the game again. I think maybe we should got to get the coward ending.
Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure.
His chair
What if
doesn't
he had to
have
make a
any...
decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go any way
F1.
except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait.
Okay, F1 doesn't do anything. It's just a random
Nothing
piece of
will
text.
break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the
Oh, hi,
answers would
Ivy.
come.
Yeah, please don't watch.
Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon,
If you don't want
very
spoilers,
soon
please,
now,
please,
this
please
will
don't
end.
watch.
He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do.
I don't want to...
Now
I
it's
put
just
big
a
spoilers in the
little
title
closer.
because I don't want anyone to get the game
Now it's even
ruined.
closer. Here it comes.
It's plus... I don't think so. You can't usually clamber over stuff.
All of his coworkers
And, like,
were
if you
gone.
can,
What could it
you
mean?
generally, like...
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Maybe I should go for the true ending, or the freedom ending, before I...
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Maybe I should get the freedom ending before anything
Yet
else.
there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Ooh. The executive room is... So... This elevator used to just take you to the same place no matter where you took it. Like, you take it, it would run, and then it would just drop you right back off here. I wonder if it goes anywhere now. Ba, 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 ba. Directional audio sources. Yeah, no, it doesn't. It doesn't go anywhere. Just making sure.
Stepping in.
I didn't even mean to do that, honestly. What if I go downstairs? Oh, it's locked, huh? I didn't even mean to do this. This is also an ending. Although not one that I intended to reach. But it sure is a weird one. Thinking about how when I was younger and I first played this game, this ending scared the shit out of me. It's not even scary. It was just so dark. I was like, I don't like this. And that is the escape pod ending.
Stanley had never seen the office this brightly lit. Was it a sign of something?
That's
He
new.
hoped it was. He hoped very much that it was.
That's new. I mean, I'm not surprised. They do have quite a bit of narrator dialogue for... Ooh. Yeah, there's quite a bit of narrator dialogue for just, like, wandering around
When
in the
Stanley
office.
came to a set of two
that you
open
don't usually
doors,
hear.
he entered the door on his left.
Nothing, yeah, Mega Horrigan is just a barren, like, space. Absolutely nothing scary
Yet
happens in
there was
it.
not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief,
Make it like an abandoned
Stanley
90s
decided
shopping
to go
mall.
up to
Those
his
places
boss.
are
Coming
creepy
to a
as shit.
staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's
Okay,
office.
actually going to go for the freedom ending this time.
The moment he entered his manager's office,
What?
Stanley froze in his tracks. Not a living soul anywhere. Could he really be all alone? This was too much for Stanley to take. Too much for any man to take. He fell to his knees, bursting into half moans, half sobs, the guttural retching of life from a man denied any hope, any reason to keep going. Here on the floor, he lay prone, paralyzed by fear for nearly a full hour. But when at last he began to move about and survey the situation, he found a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could it mean? Was it a sign of hope for Stanley's future? Alas, it was not. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as
There we
quickly as
go.
possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music.
I just wanted to get that. Yeah, have like an urban exploration game in like an abandoned 90s shopping mall or something. That would be really cool.
Feeling soothed,
I'd give it a
and
parkour
rejuvenated,
system, just let you
Stanley
explore.
calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
I really want to go for the
Stanley
museum
walked
ending.
straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control
Seeing like the
Facility.
remnants of a society, like seeing an abandoned mall. Like people used to spend their time here. They had so many happy memories, and the place is just
The lights rose on
empty
an
and
enormous room
abandoned.
packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals.
Oh,
were
there's the
just
face
images
punch
on a
Easter egg.
screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this
That's
place
cute.
where freedom
4:30.
meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
That's a neat little dynamic crosshair.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
And that is the freedom ending. That's the main ending that you get if you follow the narrator.
Stanley knew the office layout like the back of his hand. It was only a matter of time before he found the others, wherever they were. Just a matter of time. When Stanley came to a set of
music
two
is
open
different.
doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley
I wonder, because the game ending used to contain like chunks of levels from Minecraft and Portal,
The lounge was sublime, a work of art.
but
he
they
entered
can't
back to
use
business.
those because
Stanley
this is
took the first
like.
open door on his left.
Sorry, confusion ending. You'll have to wait. I'm going for the gamer ending.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about... Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
No. There are two endings
Perhaps
here.
you
If you go through the red door, you
Stanley
get
walked through
the Bliss
red
ending, and if you go
door.
through the blue door,
I
you
still
get the
don't think
game
we're
ending.
Communicating properly. All right, fine. Go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely
the
nothing
horror of
so
like
far.
the wandering and
stab in the dark
abandoned
at a new
thing is
design.
kind of
Give
what
us some
this game
feedback.
has. Like your
There
only
we go.
companion is in
Third
there.
option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin. Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here. Oh, of course. A 3. Really? Maybe next time we can get you to form an actual opinion, you know? Any level of critical thinking or engagement with your surroundings? Does that sound good? Think we can do that? Yes? Wonderful. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
Haha. Leaderboard. Wonder if they changed the... Oh, no, it's the same.
Now, would you say that competitive freedom...
What if I pick 3 again?
motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please. Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting.
Oh, the
You
baby.
wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect.
Source
Let me boot it
textures.
up.
Look at them.
In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger.
What?
You click the button to move him back to the
Why is
right.
there a house
And if he
plant?
reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
Apparently, if you play the game for, like, actually 4 hours of clicking...
Bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience.
Oh, did you look away for a second?
Not
Yeah, I
even
killed a
trying.
baby. God, I can't say that on Twitch!
It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Okay, since
I
we're
failed the
so
baby
close,
game.
Why don't we play someone else's game, just to ease the pain? Let's see.
So is this... Because it's in the original build, it's Minecraft. It has, like...
Yes.
He just plays
Let's
Minecraft.
give it a shot.
But there's no way they can... What? Firewatch?!
Things about Stanley. What's our backstory? What is our motivation? Well, it seems obvious to me that you are meant to play as a creepy man spying on innocent civilians below you from up high in your creep tower.
They even changed the walk speed!
Yes, that must be. What a fascinating introduction to the experience of total mental depravity. So far, I love everything about this game, Stanley. And it seems there's even more. Come, let's venture outward and see what else is out there.
With the Minecraft door sound. It has been a very... It's been a very long time since I've seen... the collision on these railings is a little bit weird.
Oh, no. No, it can't be. It is. It's an open world game. Good God, quickly, block it off.
No!
Oh, thank goodness, Stanley. What a close call. We nearly wandered off into that thing. That big, open, just wandering around. No right or wrong directions. No path to follow. You can just go in any... Oh, thank heavens we avoided it.
I wonder if we'll end up in,
Okay.
like another Crows game.
Let's find another game. Preferably something with walls. Something with nice, big, insurmountable walls. Okay.
Let me out!
This will be just the thing.
So what are we gonna do next? Rocket
Just a nice big box. There isn't any possibility that you could get lost here. Now this is dangerous fun. Stanley, if you manage to get lost in this game, I will be phenomenally impressed.
Oh my god!
Okay, so what exactly do we do here? Let's see. There are lots of cars here in the back, but obviously there's no racetrack. Okay, I'm seeing that there's a ball of some kind back here. Is this game sports ball? Stanley, I think it's sports ball. We shall
This is the most Rocket League I've played in the last 3 months.
Yes, I think surely we must. Okay, Stanley, here's the ball. Have fun.
Oh. Oh, I love this game. Schmeebly!
Winning? Is this fun? Is it better than my miserable
Schmeebly!
I worked so hard on?
Those
Stanley, I have a thought, and I realize I'm not a sportsologist.
Schmeebly.
One ball generates a certain amount of raw adrenal pleasure.
I didn't even
then
notice.
surely
I'm actually like
multiple balls makes for an even more euphoric sports experience.
I'm actually like running
Here
now.
comes another ball. Yes. Oh goodness, that really does feel amazing, doesn't it? Stanley, I'm like a child in a confectionery shop. I simply have to have more. I'm insatiable. More balls.
Playing fucked up an evil Rocket League now. I can't get over this. This is so funny. Like Firewatch, I was like, yeah, sure, and then Rocket.
Is this a real video game? Well, I sure hope you're having a good time, because guess what? It's over.
What?
That's right. Your little fun comes to an end. This is my game, and what I say
Oh, look at
goes.
him. They still.
You
it's
get
like
to
the
have fun when I let you, Stanley. Besides, hold on. What are you doing?
This is how the Portal elevator scene. They replace it with the Rocket League.
Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you. How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that. Stanley, come back.
What the heck? I do get like I've gotten this ending before. I just usually you don't fall down the hole. It's just like an attached hallway. I guess they tweaked it slightly. But yeah, this is the original version of the mod that ran in like Half-Life 2.
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's got it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
And that was the game ending. Did not expect there to be Rocket League. That
All of his
That was
co-workers
funny.
were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
So I'm
Perhaps
gonna go
he'd
for the
be able to
museum
remember.
ending.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
What? So after you get enough endings, they just give you a door called new content? What? What is this? Where am I?
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers.
What?
The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
This is gonna be like Dr. Langskov, where it's just like, no, there's no new content.
Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
Guys,
Is it broken?
guys, I'm stuck in the
What's
elevator.
going on here? Should we be moving somewhere? Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it. I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if them... Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley. All right. All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
What? I can jump? What? Huh? I love video games.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right? Goodness. Another elevator. Stanley, I have to
What is
say,
this, Deus
my
Ex?
impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And if... Oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
Oh.
That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really
Oh,
about.
what's gonna go wrong this time?
No gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend? Stanley, come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something.
What?
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
What the hell?
The Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC. You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013, when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Galactic Cafe Indie Box Collector's Edition. It is indeed. A fake BAFTA? At times it's just... Oh, sorry, my throat's a little bit dry. It's pretty hot out. The demo! The demo was really fun because it was like its own entire game. Yeah, it was an entire game with like its own story. BAFTA nominee. BAFTA nominee. BAFTA nominee. Ouch.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism. 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes,
What?
We're so many games that aspire to be more than games and less than any form of art. Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created. Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them. And now, it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now.
Thank you, James Stephanie Sterling.
With an hour of new elevator content.
Guess no breaking into... Oh, that's fun. It's the character models from the Insanity ending.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games, and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone, to spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
What is this? Dom's famous repeatable carpet textures. Source SDK. The serious room! Give me the serious room! What?
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here? Oh no.
Steam review!
It's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they? Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did, but maybe it wasn't.
Imagine being one of these people.
What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered. What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.
Nothing. I'm surprised they haven't done a reference to Accounting Plus
And
yet.
here it is. Go ahead and... Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations.
They were just trying to tempt me into pressing the button again.
But if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination. Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. Oh, I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their Steam review, or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't even know if one... Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not press the button again. I think the skip button has been aptly demonstrated.
As the mighty words of Sprig Planter
How
said,
do we get out of here?
button!
Where did the door... Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer. And my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone. I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times. And there's no door, Stanley. There's no door. There's just you and the button. And if you keep pressing it, I have no... Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. Just sitting here. Not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking and you saying nothing. Would you think that it's exactly the same as always? Doesn't that feel like what we've already been... Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time. I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turn...
Bye! He's just gone. And there's still no hidden passageway. Time skip! Just smoke alarm? The clock broke.
But they didn't understand the game
What?
was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability. It's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising heart the words of...
Heard something. There's definitely water dripping from the ceiling, which means next time I skip this, it might flood.
The end is never the end, 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 is never the...
There's even more water leaking. Oh! chance! Oh, that's not good. Oh! What is this, Uncharted 3? Where the hell am I? Is the time skip button? No, the time skip button is broken. I just have to wander, I guess. This is very Accounting Plus. Is that it? What?
How long was I sitting there? Stanley wondered to himself. Minutes? Days? Centuries? Did something crucial happen while my senses were turned? He made a note to be more careful with time from now on. Oh, good. You noticed my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
More new content? Does it involve me dying alone in a desert again? Oh, it skipped the... You know what, that's fair.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this Ultra Deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this Ultra Deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
What? Oh.
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
This is
Calling it the
surreal.
Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation
I know
and
that icon.
long-term franchising potential. Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
What is happening? What the?
Go on, try out some of the new features. For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this.
It's just gonna say
which
Stanley.
speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
Jim.
Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever.
Imagine if you're actually named
Let's
Jim
have
and you
you roll
just freak
with
the
Jim
fuck
to
out.
really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim. I want you to imagine yourself living as Jim, sleeping and waking as Jim, falling in love and being heartbroken as Jim, seizing all of the world's possibilities as Jim, and as Jim, watching your dreams crumble into dust. Do you feel it deeply? Are you really, truly Jim right now? If so, then please step forward and press the button.
Jim.
Yes! You see? What a thrill! What a rush! That was you! The button described you. Do it again. Do it again.
Jim.
Ooh. It hits even harder the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money. Let's take a break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation.
I made my final breath. It was my last living sound, and she taught me how
I
to
suppose I could
dance.
allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley Parable 2. That would actually save me the work of finishing this feature.
This thing in a good way. Jump circle infinite. Bucket! Office decorations infinite hole. Let's go for the bucket. Looks like something out of control.
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I am happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try. Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair.
I'm just carrying a
must already be
bucket.
sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on and on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
Oh, I guess I'm just carrying this bucket now.
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
There's that sign. This is the button that says... I gotta see what's on this QR code. Crows is known for putting weird secrets in their games, and I... It goes to StanleyParable2.com. Hold on a goddamn second. I'm gonna tab out, go to Firefox, and... we'll go to desktop capture. So... That's the actual... So if I click on that, it just takes me to the Ultra Deluxe page. What is this?
Say there, Timmy. What's that you're enjoying? Why, it's breakfast, of course. Everyone loves breakfast. But did you know that breakfast is getting a sequel? That's right. It's called Lunch. And critics are raving that Lunch will be everything breakfast was and more. With a little luck, we may even get a trilogy series out of it. Say, you know what a sequel is, don't you, Timmy? Why, sequels are the world's way of clinging helplessly to the past. We all want more of the things we love, and we're all afraid of change, which is what makes sequels so popular. New ideas are dangerous, Timmy, and they can lead to early aging. This eager-minded young thinker is just 29 years old. That's why we have sequels, to keep us couched in the familiar and the comfortable. Sequels are the bedrock of a healthy, functional society. And if you look around you, you'll find them everywhere you go. For instance, this man is developing a sequel to the automobile, which we'll call the vertical automobile. It's a useless, impractical invention. And in 2 days' time, the man will be publicly stoned to death for his crimes against gravity. Not all sequels are heretical.
This video is 10 minutes long! I can't watch all of this on stream. I'm sorry, guys. That's not happening. I will go and watch it later, but not right now. I'm gonna be honest, not all of this merch is terrible, but... Office decorations.
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with? You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Get Well Someday it is.
Can I...
Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision, we're moving on. You know what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's a... Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle. Oh well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece then.
Oh! Next time I play this, if I... Can you find them? Collect them.
Collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
Is that it? Yeah, no, there's an invisible wall back there.
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
Exit. I don't want to exit yet. I've still got more stuff to look at. You think it's actually going to give me an achievement?
Now, here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
Gamers. Interrogatory. In the demo for Stanley
What other
Parable.
exhibits haven't we seen yet?
Anyways, in the demo, they have a, they give you an achievement and then take it away.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is, in fact, a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time, if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium. You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward. Great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel.
There wasn't a roof on that before, was there?
An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it will go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
Settings World Champion. What is this? What? I'm gonna use this bucket to save the world. God damn it, let me in! Let me mess with the settings! You know, I Just Want to Be Single has an achievement that you get for making the settings menu disappear. And I think that's pretty funny. Okay, let's see. What have I got? Oh, that's everything. What is the point of the bucket?
All right, have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now?
I have not, actually. Please, no screech.
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay, are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2.
What the?
I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on, let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go, version 2. Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2. Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
Oh.
This is the story of a man.
Wait. Oh.
All of his co-workers were gone.
It's not a
What could it
real
mean?
reset.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed
Bucket!
the alert. Stanley picked up the bucket.
No new feature store?
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers. Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy. It's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket. I can really feel it now. It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say here. It's supposed to go with the other cleaning supplies. Good for you, Stanley. Don't give in. Don't hand over the bucket. I know how hard it must be, given the pressure that the broom closet is putting on your shoulders right now, but you have to be strong. This is your bucket. This is your companion and lifelong friend. You can't hand it over. Oh, no. We're getting into name-calling now, it seems. Is this how low the broom closet has sunk, that it has to resort to this stream of petty insults simply in order to get you to hand over the bucket? Stanley, I never liked this broom closet for a variety of reasons, but even this is worse than I had imagined. And wait, now the broom closet has the gall to imply that you and the bucket are not truly deep and lasting friends? That your relationship is purely superficial and convenient? That your life is so banal and meaningless that you'd feel the same sort of kinship towards any inanimate object which happened to lay in your path in an even partially enticing manner? Well, I never. Go on, Stanley. Lay into it. Really tell the broom closet off for its demeaning comments. Expand on the wide variety of experiences you and the bucket have shared together. Go through each of them point by point. Share your journal entries detailing the rich emotional landscape of your feelings for the bucket as they have changed and evolved over the years. Let him have it.
That is objectively very funny.
Okay, coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his dark, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Thanks, Bucket. Oh, that was a collectible!
elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine. Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death.
Can you go through all the endings with the bucket?
But of course, Stanley and the bucket thought better of it and realized they simply had too much to live for. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
I can't get over this.
Jumped
Just
to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine. Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control, never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket. But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place.
uncomfortably realistic
The
Unity
reality
bucket.
of his past began to sink in. Stanley decided that this...
So, is this just...
Stanley and the bucket waited in blackness. Was it over?
So would every ending...
Yes, they had done it. Stanley and the bucket had defeated their greatest and darkest enemy, freed themselves.
So
from
how much of the
tyrannical
game was
ability of
redubbed
mind
with the
control
bucket?
Machine. Freedom was now mere moments away. Excitedly, the two of them began to discuss the kind of life they wanted to live once they stepped through this massive door. The bucket wanted to learn to roller skate. Stanley wanted to sneeze in every country on Earth. Both of them wanted to begin watching a movie, any movie, but then stop it halfway through and begin watching it in reverse from the end. True, it was a simple life they envisioned, but it was one they'd lived together, with one another to lean on, to trust, to support. What? Wait. What was happening? Why had the door stopped? Was Stanley and the bucket not about to be freed? An unbearable silence filled the room, lingering in uncertainty, until finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave. Even the facility itself recognized the incredible calming presence of the bucket, needed the soothing warmth of the bucket, would go to any lengths not to part with the bucket.
What?
No. Stanley can't leave this place. Not while he has such a precious bucket.
What if I did the
around.
escape pod
Not while
ending?
this building has anything to say about it. Stanley realized he would never again leave this very room. But at least he has the bucket. To be trapped eternally in darkness isn't really so bad, Stanley thought to himself. As long as I have my bucket with me, right? I'll be okay, won't I? Stanley gulped. Very soon now, he was about to find out. All of his co-workers were... Wait, no. This isn't
I'm
the
still
right
in the
office,
bucket
is it?
reality.
Is this Stanley's office? Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. And
I have
bolted
to
the
go.
door on his left.
I have to find out. Can I play Rocket League with the bucket?
No one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fined for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then, something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley...
The Insanity ending also has a bucket variant.
It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this.
Bucket!
Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his...
Bucket, where did you go?
Now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. And now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him.
Stanley! Stanley, it's me, the bucket.
Could it truly be? He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket.
Come to me, Stanley. Find me.
He had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside him all along. It was incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out.
What? What is happening?
This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and...
Mariella has a bucket too? What kind of twisted reality is this?
Her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this.
No bucket?
If there were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself. My life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work.
So the Insanity ending has a bucket variant too?
Just a step through this door, Stanley thought to himself. That's all I need. If I can make it through this, the confusion and the chaos all seem to melt
Okay,
away.
so now I'm going to... So Left Door's endings would be...
The door on his left.
Yeah, so the Left Door's endings would be freedom, The museum ending! Do I want to go to the museum now, or do I want to save that? I'll save the museum for last.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be. No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back
Confusion
and
ending time.
through the maintenance section and walk straight ahead to the opposite door.
What does the confusion ending look like with the bucket?
Oh, good, Stanley. I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place
What?
eventually. You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because...
Is this an intervention?
It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line? We could make the Adventure Line go somewhere new. Yes, yes, that's what the fans want. Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well. Now this is what the Stanley
Adventure
Parable
Line
is.
sequel!
Remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue?
Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Yes, it's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly
Hey,
like
Line,
this.
where are you
But
taking
if we
me?
want to do that, you're going to have to give something up.
Are they gonna portal me into incinerating my goddamn
Don't you
bucket?
get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket. That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer.
They're gonna companion
I
cube
think it'll
me!
make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree?
You
Can
filthy
you guess
liar!
what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you. Go ahead now, Stanley.
Stop, please!
Say goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready. Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality. Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters? Well, you see, if you were to really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush
It won't
buckets
let
is so
me.
densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits. What other object in this game can you even say that about? The Broom Closet? Certainly not. I wonder what sort of Bucket Destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after this. Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't get back to the classic Stanley Parable characters like the Adventure Line or the Bucket Destroyer until you crush that damn bucket. Quickly now, the fans are waiting. Do it, the fans, Stanley. Give the fans what they want. Hurry and...
Oh!
Bucket Destroyer, my prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you. Those binding stories about you, all of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time that you were here.
No confusion ending. I guess this is pretty confusing. No? Okay. Oh, we're restarting. I guess, yeah, that's the bucket ending. Someone's gonna make a full ending map for all this stuff.
Were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Warmth.
So if I don't take the bucket, it lets me get the regular
With the bucket in
endings.
his arms again, he was home. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No, said the bucket. Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else.
I'm just gonna do all the endings in order.
Good, said the bucket. Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his dearest friend. So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching.
You know what, I get why they...
This was uncomfortable, and Stanley decided that as soon as he found a new space he felt safe in, that he would never leave it again in his life. Stanley picked up the bucket and smiled. He'd never be alone again, not truly alone, not with the bucket around. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to
Where
his...
is the
This
gym
was not
button?
the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go
no,
to
the
the
door
meeting
closes
room.
behind
Go
you.
somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Good,
Said the bucket.
now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious.
There's a collectible
He
over
was
there.
firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked. No, stop. Look there on the wall. You see, there's a sign right there. It says, "No buckets past this point." Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless, what if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket?
No
I
Rocket
suppose that would
League.
explain a lot about your behavior up to this point. Which, if that's true, well, my goodness, I think we have to do something about it. This misunderstanding could have
This
dire
ladder also
consequences
is.
on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket. Please, step in here for a moment. Now then, I'm going to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket. Okay, let's begin. Item 1. Is this a bucket? Incorrect. It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket. Item 2. Is this a bucket? Correct. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket. Item 3. Is this a bucket? Correct. This is a bucket. Item 4. Is this a bucket? Correct. This is a tractor and not a bucket. To be honest, I just sort of put this one in here as a gimme, but I was starting to get concerned that even this might be too much for you. Thank you for not making me look like an idiot. Okay, next one. Is this a bucket? Incorrect. This is a bucket.
What? Huh? What?
Item 6. Is this a bucket? Trick question. Both. Gotcha.
Huh?
Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. It should be around here somewhere.
What is happening?
Okay, you and I both know there isn't anything here. And I don't appreciate the implication that nothing is a bucket when we both clearly know that a bucket is something. And therefore nothing could possibly be something. Unless, in your twisted mind, have you somehow convinced yourself that a bucket is nothing? Answer me straight, Stanley. Do you believe that nothing is a bucket? You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence. And yet now I'm somewhat adrift.
Damn it.
Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I?
Existential crisis time.
Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I can't have that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game entirely. Okay, here we go. What happened? Is everything gone? Why did everything disappear? Wait, was everything a bucket? Every single thing in the game was a bucket. Oh my God, I had no idea. How could... except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news. We're not buckets.
What?
I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue, but it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what, I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay? And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person? All right, here we go.
What? What just happened?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had the good old bucket. Just Stanley and the bucket. Off on another thrilling... Stanley clung the bucket to his cheek. Could his co-workers really all...
I doubt it. Let's see.
Yes, whispered the bucket into Stanley's ear.
We've done it. We've escaped from that dull office and that pesky narrator. At last, out here in the white void, we are alone. Now, and for the first time, I can reveal to you my true self.
The bucket began to tell Stanley of its life and its history, of the countless wars it witnessed, desecrating the land and lives of untold numbers of innocent humans, and the bucket's own complicity therein, of sadness and regret, and the many years it spent dwelling on the actions it might have taken to curb the madness and the decay, if only it had been stronger, of hope and redemption, and its crusade to uplift the stock of life for the common man, to manifest justice where none existed, and the bittersweet reality of time, to see one's dreams and wishes met halfway, meted out in parcels like charity, and abandoned as soon as the warm glow of inspiration begins to dim. The opportunities to do so much more. There was so much it could have done, perhaps, the bucket wondered to itself. Perhaps, if it had seen its own darkness with a clearer perception. This was way too much for Stanley.
What are you talking about?
He screamed.
You're a bucket?
To this, the bucket furrowed its brow.
No,
Said the bucket.
not since the evil wizard Gambhorata first ensnared me in his machinations as payback for the sacred amulet I stole from his treasured vaults. I was young back then and could not conceive the ramifications of...
No!
Stanley screamed even louder this time.
What the fuck is happening?
Hey, Bucket! This is so stupid! Why are we even doing this?
As Stanley screamed and screamed and screamed, the bucket revealed its true form, transforming into a mighty beast of untold power.
What?
Fangs glistening like...
Oh, God!
My God, Stanley, you did it. You saved us from the bucket. Thank God you already had all 12 emblems of sages and knew the incantations to summon their true power. Otherwise, we would have easily been overwhelmed by the bucket's power. I'm speechless. You've demonstrated such bravery here today.
What?
Come, let's restart the game, and we'll agree to never again go trifling with this bucket, nor the dark magic cast away inside of it.
What? Bucket murder?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Where are we going today? The bucket asked. Stanley just smiled.
Anywhere they went together would be perfect. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly
All right.
to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Bloodborne ass bucket. I'm gonna put water.
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find out. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping in.
Perfect. Alright, escape pod ending time. But with a bucket this time. I am so curious, because the narrator usually doesn't say a word. Okay. Escape pod ending, but with the bucket this time. Eventually I'm gonna need to look up an ending map. Because I'm so confused. Bucket, are most of the new endings just the bucket variants? Or are there actual new endings independent of the entire Bucket and Stanley Parable 2 saga? What?! What the fuck is happening?
All of his co-workers were gone.
The
What could it
white
mean?
book.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided, oh no, not again. I won't be part of this. I'm not going to encourage you. I'm not going to say anything at all. I'm just going to be patient and wait for you to finish whatever it is. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs
Where's
to his
the
boss's office.
So, the escape pod ending is how you exit the bucket saga?
Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad. Stanley pushes some buttons. Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway. Quelle surprise. You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these. Only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
Where's the bucket? I want my bucket! So technically I'm still in the Stanley Parable 2. I've lost the bucket due to the escape pod ending. So what happens?
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
So will it let me get the ending now that I don't have the bucket? I'm not attached to...
On an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
There is an achievement in the game, I'm pretty sure, for beating the entire game in, like, under 5 minutes. But, like, only getting, like, you to get to the end of the freedom ending in 5 minutes or whatever. It's pretty hard, actually.
Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working.
Wonder what the nuclear ending with the buckets.
And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided...
So...
blackness, and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes! He had won! He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, He realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy. A soft wind blew outside and perhaps rain started, and if it did, it stopped shortly after. Stanley hoped that he would one day see weather.
And try not to lose this one too, you dolt.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini stands? Stanley figs? What about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt.
Vent? Where am I? Narrator dialogue? What is this, Dr. Langeskov? Oh.
Okay, this is day number 295. Tape number... I don't even know. I've lost track. Nothing feels real anymore. The longer I study this bucket, the less sense anything makes. The sheer euphoria I feel every time I pick it up. No matter how many times I've done it, it's always the same feeling. And the emptiness in my chest when I set it down. It doesn't make sense. There's no explanation for it. I still haven't figured out why I see the world so differently when this bucket is in my arms. Why everything feels so... What do I do with this treasure? I can monetize it. Yes. It's unthinkable the amounts of money people will pay for even just an hour with the bucket. This is my golden ticket. But I have to be careful, because as soon as this gets out, there's going to be a target on my back. Even now, I don't know who might be trying to get...
What's that? Who's there?
What? I...
Stanley knew the office layout like the back of his
Okay.
hand. It was
So, I went to the cargo room, and I found one of the Stanley figurines. And when I was going back, I saw a vent, and I crawled through, and it took me into a room filled with cassette
only a matter of
tapes.
time before he found the others, wherever they were. Just a matter of
And
time.
then, once I got that, once I picked up the tape, it started playing that dialogue with a...
A good bucket, a strong bucket, a humble bucket, a committed bucket, a bucket of culture and distinction. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else.
Down here.
The cargo lift.
There's
yes.
a vent
Go
right there, and
Go
I
to
went
the
into it, and it
cargo
took me
lift.
to that room. We tried the game ending. It took us to that
Good,
What is a
said the
Bucket
bucket.
game
Now
show.
ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
So does that mean that I'll get...
In here.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Is this gonna be the...
Now pick up the...
So, what version of the apartment ending is this going to be?
This is the sad story of a man named Stanley and his bucket. Once upon a time, I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use a friend. And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him. The Stanley Parable Reassurance bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head. Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object? I want to say something to him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me. Oh, I'll try anyway. Stanley, can you hear me? Listen to me. It's just a bucket. It can't think, it can't talk. All it will ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a different location. That's it. It doesn't do anything else. You see, he's not listening. He's still taking orders from the bucket. You know, once upon a time it was me he took orders from. Me he trusted and listened to. Now all he cares about is his awful bucket. This stupid hunk of metal. It's sad, but I suppose he doesn't need me anymore. from now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty bucket, this sort of shiny bucket. Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine to it. Yes, I suppose on closer inspection that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket. It's just a little more, what am I trying to say? Sturdier, more capable of transporting liquid. Like it would be better at moving an amount of water from one room to another. Oh my God, what am I saying? Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket. Why do I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's so much more than just a regular bucket? Oh no. I'm having feelings. The bucket.
Oh no!
No. What's going on?
Oh! Oh my God!
Hear what the bucket has to say. Do anything it asks. What's wrong with me? I don't understand. Perhaps if I had the bucket, this would be less confusing. Yes. The bucket could tell me what to do in this troublesome situation.
What is happening?
Stanley, give me the bucket. Give it to me. Give me the bucket, Stanley. I need it. Give it to me now. Give it or I'll...
What? What the hell?
Just a step through this door, Stanley thought to himself. That's all I need. If I can make it through this...
The embrace of an old friend. A weathered companionship that stands the test of time.
Is the bucket gone?
This was not correct.
What?
But Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the...
I am afraid, I think. I fear for my life and also my soul. Is the bucket gone now? But then who does that make the narrator?
The door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
Either way, next up is the,
Said the bucket.
what's it called?
The meeting room. Go somewhere
I don't actually remember the name of the ending where you unplug the phone.
Said the bucket.
The choice ending,
Now ride
right?
the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
I am
In
so
here.
Said the bucket.
confused.
Go into this dark room over
What
here.
is
Stanley
happening?
once again obeyed blindly.
Okay. Phone unplug.
Now pick up the phone.
Whoa, hold on. Why did you unplug the phone? Were you trying to resist the bucket's orders? Stanley, I was joking. Obviously, the bucket isn't talking to you and telling you to do things.
Oh, but it
It's
is!
a joke. Don't you get the joke? It's funny, Stanley. A talking bucket.
Can't you see? Oh, goodness. I must have really bungled up the delivery if you actually took me seriously. Where did I mess up the joke? Should I have paused for longer or spoken quicker? Comedic timing is so difficult. I wish I were better at it, but there isn't exactly an instructional video on comedy that we can watch to fully... Oh, wait, yes, there is. It's sitting right here. Let's take a look.
What is comedic timing? What is comedic timing? How does it work? How long should it last? How can it be used to effectively silence your political enemies? And more importantly, can it be taught in its entirety within 90 seconds? Thankfully, the answer to all of these questions is yes. Let's dive deeper. If you've ever told a joke or made someone laugh, in all likelihood, you did it while standing 50 to 80 centimeters from them in a room of no more than 76 degrees Fahrenheit, with one of your arms raised straight upward at a 15-degree angle from your body. These are the optimal conditions for good comedic timing. To begin the joke, start by stating and spelling your name. Next, provide a brief synopsis of the joke including the specific times at which the recipient of the joke will laugh, and then spell out your name a second time. With these steps complete, it's time to begin the humor. Speak the entire joke in no more than 18 seconds and no less than 13 and a half, pausing only for bathroom breaks when necessary. When the joke has concluded, it is customary to inform your listener that the joke is over by declaring in your loudest possible voice, "I'm Dunny with the funny." Practice screaming, "I'm Dunny with the funny" now.
I'm done with this feels like a game changer episode.
A perfect example of expectations management, which is the cornerstone of good comedy. Finally, it's time to hand out surveys. Collecting hard data about how rapid birth is the only way to grow older in the media. An effective survey is no less than 10 pages long and should include the same question reprinted several times, just to ensure the survey taker is actually paying attention and not simply filling in answers at random. And that's all there is. With these strategies at your disposal, you'll have audiences doubled over in laughter and even tripled in no time at all. Just remember to let them stop laughing at some point, you gut-busting little scamp. After all, with each of us needed on the front lines of the war,
What?
legged invader who threaten our very existence, and to very likely die in a hailstorm of bullets and mandibles. All of us must be prepared to give our lives to this noble cause, just as our children must do after us, and their children after them. Godspeed, and may Earth reign supreme.
What?
Hey, goodness, this video is a little outdated, isn't it? Well, no matter. I think the fundamentals of proper comedic timing are still as relevant today as they were back then. So with that in mind, I believe the only way forward is for us to return to the two doors and walk through all of this again, so I can try telling my story with more appropriate comedic delivery. Come along, let's head back. I can feel it. This time, I'm really going to nail the delivery. You'll be in stitches. A talking bucket, you'll say? How ridiculous. How absurd. What a hilarious concept. The king of comedy. That's what you'll call me. Thank goodness we had the instructional video. Otherwise, who knows where we'd be right now. Well, I wouldn't be the king of comedy, that's for sure. The bucket spoke to Stanley.
The bucket spoke.
The bucket spoke. Oh, I'll figure it out on the fly. No need to overthink things. Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left. What? We're back at the phone already? No. What's going on? There were supposed to be several rooms leading up to this. There was supposed to be a build-up to this point. A dramatic display of remarkable comedic wit which culminates in this scene with the phone. But now the timing's completely off. The joke will never land. Well, not the way it was meant to. And it's all my fault. I must have forgotten that the phone room comes immediately after the two doors room. What an egregious mistake. I've made a fool of myself. I don't deserve the title of King of Comedy. I'm nothing. I'm not even the lowliest joke-telling whelp. I think I need to go back and rewatch that instructional video again. Yes, surely that will help me improve my... Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left. What? We're back at the phone already? No.
Okay, it's just gonna repeat.
Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left. No, 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 no. You were supposed to go through the door on the right, leading back to the phone. Did you not even look at the instructional video? I think this is all covered very clearly. There's no way I can make the comedic timing work now. It's done. The joke is completely done and over. It's all your fault, Stanley. I'm going to be ridiculed in the community of other joke writers. I'm going to be shamed at every one of our meetings from now on. All because you couldn't watch a simple video and take a hint. Are you proud of yourself for bringing me down, Stanley? Are you proud?
Stanley, you love the bucket so much it's like you...
What?
It's as though all of your other most prized possessions pale in comparison. Yes. Let me try that again, Stanley. I heard that you are pale with shame over how unabashedly in love with a bucket you are. No? Still not? Is it a delivery? Pale with shame. Pale with shame? Pale... What's another word to describe a bucket? Stanley, this bucket is so metal. I think I saw it playing guitar. No.
So this is the credits.
I'm no good at these jokes. I need more instructional videos. That's exactly what it is. That's what will make me the king of comedy again. More instructional videos. Let's see.
I've done every bucket
All
ending
his
except the
co-workers were
museum.
gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
The bucket made Stanley want to be a better man and a better co-worker.
Right?
In time, perhaps, he would become both of those.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered
Have I
the
done
his
all
bed.
of the... Yeah, I did. Alright. Museum ending it is. Oh. There's one under the stairs? There's one in the colored door room. That's clever.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Haha!
Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic
Figlies,
sense of
obviously.
happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by 1? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me.
Executive bathroom.
You're getting close now, Stanley. You've nearly gotten all of the Figler and Marines. Very soon, you'll collect the last one, and then the first number will equal the second number, and that will be it. We'll be different people by then. Different in the sense that we used to have none of them, and now we have them all. You can't go back to when you had no Figler and Marines. None of us can.
So I assume that if I collect all of them, I get some kind of secret ending.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is
Stanley
certainly the most
Amiibo.
logical explanation.
So, next up is the museum ending. But before we go to the museum ending,
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read,
we are going to go on a quick break. I will be back soon. See y'all in a minute. Yo! I'm back.
Mind Control
Okay,
Facility.
museum ending. Here we
Although
go.
This passageway had the word escape written on it. The truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death. The door behind them was not shut. Stanley and the bucket still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley and the bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for each of them. As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley and the bucket inched closer to their demise, Stanley reflected on how meaningless the bucket's warmth and comfort had turned out to be. To be sure, it puts the mind and the soul at ease to embrace the bucket, but what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death? This is what Stanley thought to himself, and he sort of kicked himself for wasting so much time carrying a bucket everywhere. Farewell, Stanley.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, the bucket's life came to an end, as it was crushed violently to death. It was a shame, the death of such a magnificent bucket. It's true that all buckets are radiant in their own way, but this one stood above the rest. It was a glorious bucket to behold.
Is this... So, instead of the regular museum ending, it's...
Can you see how arrogant it was for Stanley to take a bucket like this and to claim it for his own? Can you see the hubris that blinded him? Can you see that the bucket is far more noble than Stanley will ever be in his short life?
So this is an alternate version of the museum ending that's about the bucket instead of about the game's development. This is really cute, actually. I think this is great.
No man can own a bucket, and certainly not a bucket as dazzling to behold as this one. It is man who should kneel before the bucket. But there is something we can do. Something we can do together, you and I, that will right this terrible wrong. Let Stanley die. Let him be crushed by the machine. Don't reset the game. Don't give him another opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket. We can save the world's buckets from their treatment as tools and implements if only we let Stanley die together. The bucket shall take its place as ruler, as leader, as commander of a new world, a new vision for...
What? You know that at the end of this, I will go back and do the museum ending before I finish the stream off, like the regular museum ending without the bucket, just so that I can
Stanley had never
show
seen
you
the
guys
office this
the...
brightly lit. Was it a sign of something? He hoped it was.
Not everyone is so lucky to have a bucket, but Stanley is a very lucky fellow. Very lucky indeed.
Okay, so the last
Stanley
one...
clutched the bucket tightly to his chest.
Crap, wait. It says no bucket, so I can't take the bucket.
Co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Sorry,
Perhaps
bucket.
He had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first.
I'm so used to the bucket dialogue that hearing the regular one is like...
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about... What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side.
And there it is. The last Stiggly Wiggly. Savor this moment, Stanley. This is a real accomplishment. This is doing something just for the sake of doing it. Where so many people expect to be rewarded for the most trivial achievements, you've insisted that a job well done is its own reward. I would tell you that I'm proud of you for collecting them all, but that would be like a reward, and we can't have that. So, instead I'll just say, it's done. We're all done here. And now we can go to whatever the hell you were doing before you hunted for figurines.
That's it?
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door. Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley?
I mean, yes. I'm not gonna do this ending because it's actually really sad and dark. And there's no bucket variant.
Stanley, I'm sorry, but I have to put a pause on
This is superliminal shit.
It's those figurines. Those figures. I haven't stopped thinking about them since you nabbed every last one. Wasn't it just the most intrinsically fulfilling moment of your entire life? Didn't it fill you to the brim with inner richness? Yes, I know we're supposed to be telling a story, but won't you please indulge me with one more trip back to the memory zone? I would love nothing more than to revisit the figurines just one more time. Here's where it all began. The first collectible. Back then, we had no idea of how many of them we'd find. Sure, it said 6 right there on the screen, but how could we know for certain? We were so innocent. We'll never be like that again, Stanley.
7 out of 6. What? Is this actually showing the order in which I collected them?
Was the second Stanley. You found this one all on your own just by poking around behind the boss's office. You did that, Stanley. I'll be honest, back then I had no faith in you to find any of them, let alone 6. But you continue to surprise me in all sorts of mundane, unremarkable ways. Okay, let's do a little quiz. Which of these rooms was the room you found your third mini stand? Can you remember? Hey, that's exactly right. It was here in the warehouse. It was the third one. You picked it up, and then after that, you had 3 of them. I'm glad these moments are so crystal clear in your memory, but I shouldn't be surprised. After all, science tells us that it's impossible to forget your third time doing anything.
That was going to take me into the freaky
Let's
tape
see,
room
what
again.
came next? Oh yes, we found a Figley in this pink room. Oh well, I can't actually say I remember being in this room, but it's here in the memory zone, so it must have happened. This was the 5th mini stand, and this one was really something special. It was in the boss's bathroom. I remember it so clearly. In fact, because this one is particularly special to me, I made a little video to commemorate the occasion. Enjoy.
Oh my... God damn it. I'm shocked that they didn't write unregistered hypercam 2 in the corner.
I spent a lot of time making that video, but it was 8 minutes I wouldn't have spent on anything else.
8 minutes. Okay, the lighting is just weird.
And then, Stanley, then we came to the last collectible, the final figurine, right here by the red and blue doors. This memory is the most distinct and clear in my mind, perhaps because it was the one that happened more recently than all the others. Who can truly say how the mind works? All I know is that this is the moment where you picked up a Figley and I thought to myself, yes, that's all of them. They're all collected. It was a moment unlike any other, except for the other moments picking up figurines, which it was exactly like. And then there was no more, because we've caught up to the present moment. Nothing left to do but move on into the future.
This feels like Superliminal, with the red carpets and the white walls and the...
No, I'm not done. I'm not ready to move on. Stop the loading screen. Is
Ah!
there some way we can stay here, keep enjoying these figurines? Let's just go backwards. We'll do the memory zone again from the opposite direction. See how that feels.
What? The loading screen?
The room with the red and blue doors. I remember this. I must say, of all the figurines we looked at in our initial tour of the memory zone, this one is the most distinct and clear in my mind. Let's keep going. I want more. And here's where I made that video. Don't you remember the video we watched? Yes, I love that video. Still don't remember the pink room, Stanley. Still no memory of this one. Good room, though. A solid room. These really were a treat to hunt down. You know, if there had been any kind of reward for finding all of these, it really would have muted the intrinsic joy of collecting them. I'm very glad we resisted the temptation. Next one. This was our second Figley. Don't you remember? Yes, I remember it too. The past is truly a wonderful thing. Why does anyone ever choose to leave it? Keep going. This is it. The very first one we found in the exhibit where I introduced you to the figurines. Oh, I want more memories, Stanley. I want to keep going. What else is there? What came before this?
This isn't right.
Look, it's the terrible new content that we were originally sold on. I remember hating it back then. But time does put a rosy filter on everything. In fact, I dare say I'm actually quite fond of it now. Look how much fun the past is. I want more. More memories.
Colors just changed. Is that just me?
Oh, yes. The two doors. Who could have forgotten that? A classic memory, this one. And before everything else, there was your office. Is there anything else? Was there something that came before your office? There's something I feel I can remember. I can remember. Yes, I'm remembering something now. I remember before this whole story got started.
What?
And I was different. I used to make big decisions. I was passionate. I was skeptical.
Narrator lore?
With profound thoughtfulness. And then somewhere along the way, I stopped making decisions. I became lazy. And I came up with a character named Stanley to do my thinking for me. He would make the decisions. He would decide which way to go. I would cheer him on as he collected figurines for no reason. Why did I invent Stanley? Was I lonely? Yes, perhaps that's it. Perhaps I needed to imagine I had companionship. And Stanley really did make for a wonderful companion, even if he was a fiction. But I suppose it's grown old. I want to think for myself again. I want to go back to how it used to be. Yes, I can be on my own again. I can do it. I'll be stronger this time. I'll take care of myself. I don't need Stanley anymore. Oh, but he truly was so much fun to play with. You know what? Since we're in the memory zone, how about one more good memory? Let's go back just once and give Stanley one more run of the office, and then I'll retire him for good. I did enjoy telling this story so very much. Okay, here we go. This is the story of a man named Stanley. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps when Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either.
Reboot
Feeling
the
a
game
wave of
entirely.
disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Room closet is boarded up.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss.
So we're still in the
office.
sequel.
Here's the door, just go. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Yep. I want to see if they changed the museum.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that
I
his
want
life
to
had been
see
no
if they change the
consequence
museum to have like
whatsoever.
concept
Stanley
art for
can't see
this
the
game,
big
or if it's
picture.
literally
He doesn't
just
know
the
real
original.
story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
I think you have to go this way.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
So the credits were updated. Other than the credits being changed, this looks... Oh. Let's see, Ultra Deluxe version. 2018. Yeah.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let...
And that was the museum ending. I don't really want to say much, because it's one of my favorites. It's really good. The museum ending is legitimately, like, really enjoyable to...
Hi, Stanley. Just wanted to leave you a message to let you know there's a few things I need you to pick up on your way home from work today. We need milk, cereal, dish soap, spaghetti, get a thing of sugar, some bread, and coffee beans, whichever ones you like. I'll give you a call if there's anything I forgot. Thanks, sweetie. See you tonight.
It takes a lot of humility to carry a
I realized
so magnificent.
there's one ending
Stanley checked his
that we
ego
haven't done
and
yet.
Then proceeded on. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
We've done everything except
Still no one was here.
the nuclear
Stanley
ending.
needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find out. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Oh, and Button Heaven, but that hasn't shown up since we...
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
I love video games. So, I do believe this is the final ending that I haven't done with the bucket yet.
Mind control facility.
Right? Because I used to have a map, like a handwritten map of every ending.
Lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket
There's no
both
confusion
wondered to
ending with the
themselves.
bucket. It takes you to the intervention. We did the... There's no game ending. Let's see. I think this is the last ending.
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine. Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own
Missing
life
now.
in someone else's control. Never! He squeezed.
I'm surprised that they haven't made an Accounting Plus reference. That was like their last big game before they made this.
No one except for the bucket. But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content.
Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terror. But at the last second, the bucket jumped in and pressed the button to turn on the controls. Stanley gasped in horror. Had this been the bucket's plan all along? To take over the machine and claim the power for himself? How could the bucket have betrayed him like this? Stanley was prepared to throw the bucket away in disgust when suddenly an image appeared upon the enormous screen. Birds. Silly, silly birds. The control buttons became active again.
Aww!
Stanley flipped through one video of silly birds after another, and then it dawned on him. This wasn't a mind control facility at all. It was a facility for monitoring and surveilling silly birds all over the world. The mind controls were only a facade to disguise its true intentions. Had the bucket known this all along? Stanley marveled at the metal genius in his hands, the one who had pointed him towards this incredible discovery. Stanley and the bucket never found freedom because they spent the rest of their lives here in this place, flipping through live streams of the silliest birds imaginable. Of all the possible paths his life could have taken, this one was surely the best. And Stanley was happy.
So there's no nuclear ending with the bucket. It's the bird ending. Okay, I'm gonna really quick look up an ending, like, map. Okay. Huh. Okay, I do think that I've gone through every ending with the bucket. I think. I guess if you press the button for 4 hours, you get the art ending, but I don't have the energy for that crap right now. I'm sure there's a specific version of the art ending that you get if you, like, you'll get a specific version of the art ending if you use the bucket, but I'm gonna be honest, I super cannot be bothered. So if I quit to desktop... Okay, the game closed. So if I restart the game... What? Well, since I'm in California, it's 5:21 p.m. Why does it ask me to... Leave the clock set at 12 and call it a day, but you're actually taking the time to set the clock, and I appreciate that. So I know that you care about this experience, you're paying attention. I don't even have any way of knowing if the times you're setting are correct. Tell you what, I'll make you a deal. Since you've been so cooperative, next time you boot up the game and see the screen, just set your clock to your favorite time. The correct time you've... That's cute. I'm still in the Stanley Parable 2?
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on the keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very... All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Stanley cradled the bucket in a gentle embrace, protective yet delicate, assertive yet compassionate.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest, and
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the...
I think I got all the bucket
telling him
endings.
that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Well, no, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back, and so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door. Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find... Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revel, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it the... All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ha-ha! Input received. Oh, where are all the buttons in the...
All of his co-workers were gone.
Get the heaven
What could it
ending.
mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
There.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not
Yeah,
a
also, the
single
whiteboard
person there
changed. It
either.
used to say restart the
Feeling a wave
game.
of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
But trying to remember where all the buttons are for the heaven ending. It's been a while since I've gotten
I can't wait
it.
to tell this story to my co-workers, Stanley thought. How amusing they'll find it. Oh, won't we all just laugh? All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Stanley's bucket, the only co-worker he would ever truly need.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room.
So, I guess there's no way to take the bucket into the heaven ending, but since I'm here, I might as well do it. In case you didn't know, if you press the buttons on all the terminals, you get the heaven ending, which is just... That's it. You can't do anything here. I think I've gotten every ending. Oh. I got the abridged start.
Is Stanley, without the bucket, really Stanley? Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was not the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
I want to go back to that freaky tape room. Because there was more stuff there that I didn't get to see.
Okay, this is day number 295. Tape number... I don't even know. I've lost track. Nothing feels real anymore. The longer I study this bucket, the less sense.
Okay, this is the same thing. Unfortunately, because this game came out today, there's no ending maps. So, I legitimately have no idea if I've seen everything.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
But
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Hmm.
This is the...
There's, apparently there's an achievement for messing with
Perhaps he had
every
simply
option
misremembered.
or something.
As Stanley lifted his bucket, he felt a connection to all buckets everywhere. This adventure, he decided, was for all of them.
Stanley pressed the bucket upon every little thing in the office. Nothing responded to the bucket's touch, but it did. Stanley clutched the bucket.
Okay, I think I've done everything. I've gone to every ending I can with the bucket. Oh, no, this is just the full credits. Okay. Well, I think that's enough Stanley Parable. So, I am going to end the stream off here. And just, yeah. Thanks for watching. This one was a lot of fun. I like Stanley Parable a lot. Okay. I'll catch y'all later. Bye-bye.